think we're on. Beautiful. Hello, my name is Andrea Martel and I'm a joy scientist. Thank you for having me here. This is great. I'll just give us a few minutes to settle in. So I've been a little bit paranoid about my tech today. I've done everything I can to ensure that we run smoothly. So I've even got my backup machine. And just checking. I actually had the laptop that I'm working on right now, I had it shut down right in the middle of a Zoom yesterday. So I was like, oh, it's not a great sign. Just checking where we're at. Okay, beautiful. So yes, we're definitely good to go. And it appears that it's not updating me with who's on. So we'll just see how we go. All right, yes. This is so great. So I'd like to start with just a huge amount of gratitude to the guys that have set up this initiative, and obviously with just the beautiful intention of this perfect space of just being to serve around the fire. It's gone like wildfire, and I'm so excited. It's, I think right now, so important. Thanks, Kim. I think it's so important to acknowledge our ability to connect right now. And it's just so heartwarming and really beautiful to see this initiative, but also so many other initiatives coming out of this time where we've had a lot stripped away from us, and yet here we are uniting, coming to the fire and sharing. So I'm very, very grateful, very, very grateful. So to acknowledge that this is a space where we are coming and gathering around our galactic fire. I don't have a fire here, however, I do have a candle. And so this is my acknowledgement to commencing and sitting at the fire and setting the intention for this space to be able to connect and share and be seen. I am nervous. My body's letting me know. My hand just had the shakes then, so. Right. So, the candle is lit. So symbolically, we are now sitting here at the fire. So, my intention here today is to share and to be of service. So I have prepared some notes. Now, that being said, this is a space where I would like us to be able to interact and be in service. So you can share, you can ask questions, and we'll just check that I have actually got the capacity to see those. Notes. Now, that being said, this is a space. There we go. That's better. All right. I'm just seeing if we can have the capacity to see any questions that get asked. So we'll see. I have fun with Facebook Lives, they don't always cooperate. So yeah, my intention here today is to be joy and bring joy and hold that in this space as we share and talk about joy. And this is such a poignant time to be choosing what we focus on. There is a lot going on, and I do hold the belief that what we focus on is what we get. And so whilst it's very easy to get caught up in what's going on, is always just bringing back to, at some point, what is it that I want? Yeah. So ultimately, I want to hold that presence of joy whilst uncovering what that is. How can we cultivate joy in this particular time with everything that's going on? And how do we hold that as a container or a space for others, given the current things that we are dealing with? Okay, we are in such a beautiful time right now. It's a shitstorm. Everything's being stirred up. So if you imagine a pond or a tank, and maybe there's a lot of sediment at the bottom, a lot of mud and dirt and debris and sticks and leaves that have fallen into the water and gradually sunk to the bottom. Right now, it's like there's a whirlpool, and all the sediments at the bottom, it's been stirred up. And we're in this whirlpool where it can be challenging to ground ourselves or anchor ourselves when we've got the tide pushing us in a particular direction. I guess that's been the visual that I've been getting in regards to what's going on right now. So, as I said, feel free to share, comment. This is a co-creation space, and all parts of you are welcome. So feel free to share your joy, share your pain. All parts are welcome here. So this is amazing. For those that are listening, please let me know where you're from. I'm from Melbourne, Australia, and I know we've got a global connection going on here. This is really, really special. This is really something. And I'm so delighted to be a part of this. Thanks. Thank you, Kim. So, how are we doing? How are we doing? All right, so what the fuck is joy? So joy is just something that has well and truly resonated with me, and it's something that I have found through the work that I've done on myself. It's just the thing that I keep coming back to. It resonates. And ultimately, it's something that has resonated so greatly with me that I've, cornered myself in this little market, calling myself the joy scientist. So effectively, what it is it's holding that and being that as a pillar. Oh, thank you, Sylvia. Costa Rica, amazing. This is so special. Is that we all have something that is innate to us. And, we all have something to offer and bring to the fire, bring to the table. Okay. Now, joy's a fun one, obviously. But what I want to make very clear up front is that to truly know joy, we need to acknowledge the spectrum and the opposites that we have around that. So to know joy is to know hopelessness and to acknowledge despair. So it's not just all about, I just get this sensation of, ooh, happy, happy, joy, joy. It's not always about that. And I will talk about what joy is in the ability to dive into that hopelessness and despair and come out the other side. Yeah, because that's ultimately what joy is. It's knowing that we can survive. We can survive those less than pleasant experiences. Yeah. Okay, so joy ultimately is a name. It's a label that we have given an internal experience, sensations that we're having in our body. Okay, so my joy is going to be different to your joy. Okay, for me, it's quite heart based, but there's also sort of it's also guttural. For me, I have those sensations in the body, and it feels very open. It feels very expansive, and very pleasant. Okay, so for pretty much all feelings, okay, is that we've put a label on an internal sensation that we are having. And so my sadness isn't going to be the same as your sadness. Okay, you'll feel that differently to the way that I feel it. There might be similarities. Yeah. Just acknowledging that this is different for all of us. Okay, it's a different experience for all of us. Okay, all of our feelings are also, hi Sarah. Yes, it is full moon. Thanks, Andy. And I think we're all feeling that, I suspect. Then that feelings, it's like a dial. Okay, if you think about a dial from 0 to 1,000, there's a great spectrum of how strongly we feel something. Okay, some things, if we have repressed or hidden away or never had a safe experience or point of reference for a feeling, it might be a 0. We may not have anything there. Okay, and I'll talk more about that shortly. Lovely guys who are jumping on. Thanks for the acknowledgements. And yeah, just let me know where you're from, where people are tuning in from. And also, if you've got your own shares, okay, this is a place for that. So, joy. Joy is an internal spark. For me, this is how I feel it. Alaska, amazing. So, an internal spark. And what happens is, no matter the feeling that I am having, whether it is that despair, that hopelessness, the grief, the sadness, the anger, the fear, whatever is present, there is my internal spark. And it might be so dull, it might be like a speck of dust. But what that speck internally represents is my joy. And the beauty of that is that it's an acknowledgement. And it's wherever I'm at, whatever I'm going through, whatever the situation, it's an acknowledgement to, you will survive this. You will get through this. You are safe. And you are loved. So joy can be present. It can exist through all sorts of things. I lost my last grandparent just in the last 18 months. And so much love for this beautiful woman. And she passed, and I had the gift of being present there. And I've never been present when someone has passed before. And it was so sad. So sad. But the spark was there. There was the spark of knowing not only will I survive this, but she survives this. Okay, and I was able to hold that space and just be there and let her know that you are loved and you are safe all the way through to her last breath. Yeah, so it was sad, but there was joy in that. So we can have joy in the sadness, joy in our grief, joy in loss. I just had joy in hatred. So just feel that one, right? Just feel. You're hating on something. We'll talk more about what we can hate on shortly, but that just came up then. So I can hold the feeling of hating, and then I can tap into that spark. And what's the message there? The message is that I can hate in. I can hate. If I can hate, then I'm alive. Yeah. And there's a gift in aliveness, is there not? So I can hold that. I can be that in amongst all sorts of those feelings. Okay? Joy can always be present if we choose it to be. The beautiful thing is once we have this realization, once we have an experience of it, you can't unknow it. It's really shitty. You can't unknow it. Once you acknowledge that there is a spark of joy, and that spark of joy is there and present through anything that we go through, we can't unknow it. So I can be feeling pretty shit. And I may not feel the spark in that moment. It may not be present for me in that moment, but I've had an experience of knowing it, so therefore I can't unknow it, and so therefore I will know this will pass. I know that this is not permanent and will change. Oh, it will change. That's guaranteed, right? So it's a beautiful thing. It is a beautiful thing. And what happens is with this is that it becomes something that gives us so much resilience. I know I can conquer anything. I know I can experience anything, and I will survive. Even in death. So you can feel that, right? And what that does is it gives us confidence. It gives us confidence to face things. It gives us the ability to weather the storm. It's so funny. I spent time getting the lighting right in here, and then the sun's come out. It's like, damn it. Oh, thank you, Andy. I'm very grateful for that feedback. It is soothing. For me, it gives me so much calm. So much calm. I used to be an older version of myself, used to imagine every scenario going through, worst case, imagining myself getting cancer and being in hospital, and imagining my loved ones leaving me, or being alone, and playing out all these worst case scenarios. Kind of having a belief system there that, well, if I imagine things going so badly, well, then life isn't going to throw that at me. Yeah, resourceful, right? So I've learned better. I've learned some different ways of navigating life, and Now it's choose to focus on things going well as opposed to not going well. So the key is with joy is to acknowledge that it's internally driven. It doesn't come from external sources. So the way I like to sort of say it is that if we look at happiness, again, another feeling, so it's just a label that I'm putting on internal sensations, okay, we've been sold to that we can buy happiness. We can go on that holiday. You can live in that house or that suburb. You can have a relationship. You know, all the things that we are taught that will make us happy. Get a haircut. Get a new car. Upgrade your mobile phone. All those things. Okay, very much external. Okay, now the thing is that can be taken away from us. Gone. Okay, a lot of us are having that sensation right now. It's like, oh, I was really happy. I liked my job. My job is now gone. Okay, so whereby happiness we say is external. Okay, joy is internal. Okay, I create that space for myself. I find that spark for myself. I meet that part of myself that knows I will survive this. Yep, I've just had a job ripped away from me. Devastated. This is actual for me. Yeah. And I will survive this. Okay, I am not that job. My identity isn't tied up in that job. It was something I did that I really loved. So I thought for a long time that I was happy. This is leading up to a few years ago now. And I'm very grateful that I had that pulled away from me. And I had various things happen, but ultimately it was when I was quizzing a potential mentor at the time, and I was being a bit cheeky. I was trying to deliberately push him, see what he was made of, whether or not he'd be someone I want to work with, right? And it was great because I was talking about, well, you know, things are pretty good. I've got everything I want. I'm happy. And he asked the question, he goes, do you ever lie to yourself? Anyway, I was like, what? Why, of course not. I don't lie to myself. And right in that moment, what he allowed me to see was what I wasn't seeing. And the thing is that as humans, we only see and live a very small spectrum of the reality that's available to us. The way I like to describe it is actually, if I've got a piece of paper in front of my face, and there's a pinhole. There's a pinhole that I get to view my life. It's like having the blinkers on. Okay, so what I'm really only seeing is through that pinhole everything that aligns up with what feels safe to me, what aligns with my belief systems, the culture that I've been brought into, all the invisible belief systems that I've been brought into. And what really came undone very shortly after that conversation is realizing that I had been telling myself that I was happy. How could I not be? I had all these things, right? But ultimately what there was underlying that was someone that did not know herself. Did not know herself. That became very obvious. Okay. When we don't have a firm footing in having met parts of ourselves, Okay, it's very easy to be manipulated. It's very easy to just take on what everyone else is saying without running it through our internal BS checks, right? And actually going, is that right for me? Is that my truth? Yeah. So just acknowledging that. Just acknowledging that. So what I ultimately realized is that being happy, being joyful was actually a mask. It was a survival mechanism that I had built in place throughout my childhood. Okay, I needed to be the good girl. I needed to be the nice, good girl, does what she's told, and just be happy. Don't rock the boat. We don't want to cause any problems. We don't want to draw attention to myself through what was really going on, where maybe I was feeling angry or upset. Yeah. Okay, so just having that realization. Okay, so my pinhole got slightly bigger in that moment when I was able to see more of what was going on for myself. Yeah, cognitive dissonance. Okay, that's the thing. That's what was happening for me there. Mm-hmm. So what happened from then on is doing a lot of work on myself. Mm-hmm. Getting to meet more aspects of myself. Yeah, the part that is angry, the part that I had to fall into line to get what I wanted, which I didn't actually get what I wanted. Go figure. Yeah. And so in that, realizing I can survive this, having rocky situations where life just throws us through some shit, sees what we're made of. I survived that. If I need to, I'll survive it again. That's that spark. That's that joy. That's the point there. All right. So that's my what is joy. Hey, Leah, beautiful woman. Welcome, 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 welcome. So that is what is joy to me. And as I said, it's different for everybody. Yeah. Now, maybe you haven't met your spark. Okay. Not all feelings are necessarily safe for us or have been safe for us to have. Okay. And that can be pleasant or unpleasant. Okay. For me, anger's been my beautifully repressed anger. Yeah. It comes out in little bits now. I'm very grateful. We're tapping into her gradually. Yeah. And the thing is with these things that we repress or don't allow ourselves to feel because it isn't safe, is that it dulls our sensitivity. It dulls our sensitivity to ourselves and also the world. Okay. So we do want to tap into these things. For me, it's an ongoing process. Yeah. I don't actually believe. Hey, Chef. This is beautiful. I'm loving seeing some familiar faces on here. So where it hasn't been safe, okay, perhaps you experienced joy as a child and you got thwacked over the back of the head in that moment. And from that moment, unconsciously, your mind said, well, fuck that. I ain't doing that again. It's not safe. Yeah. And that gets tucked away. Okay. So when we have things that we want to experience and we have no point of reference of them, we can't even relate to it. Yeah. So anger was a big one like that. I'm like, I'm not angry. Oh, yeah, she's angry. Yeah. Okay. It's my body's holding it. If it's not expressed, acknowledged, it gets stored. Yeah, we know that scientifically. So joy perhaps is something that we haven't had an experience with. Okay, I talk and work with a lot of people in regards to joy. Okay, people go, yeah, I know happiness. You know, I get a bunch of flowers, I feel happy. I see a puppy dog, I'm happy. Yeah, we know that because they're external, they're outside of ourselves. Okay, as I mentioned, joy is internal. Okay, so ways of cultivating things when we don't have a known point of reference. Okay, if we have no relationship with that thing, it's trickier. It is trickier. Self-love, I talk about in regards to this because, we all say how important self-love is. The most important thing, right? However, if I'm coming from a place of self-hatred, self-love is it's at the other end of the spectrum. Okay, so I got to work out the steps. I've got to work out ways to get there. So the intermediary point that I can aim to get to before I get the thing that I really want is acceptance. I need to be able to accept the part of me that doesn't know joy, or the part of me that can't relate to anger, or the part that won't let me tap into anger. Okay, I need to acknowledge my resistant points. Okay, and just go, all right, I'm numb in this space. Hello, numbness, and welcome in the numbness. You are welcome here. All parts are welcome. Because otherwise, what I'm doing is I'm going into resistance with my numbness. Okay, how often does going into resistance result in the desired change? Think about someone that has a really annoying behavior. And we want to call them on it. We go, stop doing that thing. It's frustrating. It's annoying. It's blah, blah, blah. Yeah? Are they going to change? When we go into resistance, we're not going to get change. Okay, we need to move into acceptance and acknowledgement of that part. We need to meet that part. Get to know it. Have a conversation. Why are you there? What messages do you have? My numbness is there servicing me. It hasn't been safe to tap into that. So it holds a gift. There's gold there. There's so much gold there. Okay, so wherever I am at, wherever you are at, acknowledge it. I like to say, what is it? Honor where I'm at and acknowledge where I am not. So all the things that prevent us from having that thing that we want, in this instance, joy, what are they? We can sit with them. We can be with them. Hey, I'm not getting all my comments on my main screen. Let me just, okay, they're there. Oh, thank you, Andy. Human design system. It doesn't spark a bell. I'll send me a link or I'll do some Googling after this. Leah, spark, yes. The flow of energy. Oh, thank you. Bless. Yeah, this is real for me. I bring this. This is what I hold. This is what I hold for you. That's why I'm here. That's why I'm here. It's to hold that for us. That leads in perfectly. When we have no point of reference for things that we want, another thing that we can do is to seek it externally in others. It's beautifully crafted in if you want $1 million, if you want to be a millionaire, go find those millionaires and spend time with them, model them, get to know them, find out what their belief systems are. What is it that they do differently to us? Same for joy. Same for joy. Okay. I'm giggling because if I'm not attracting in that $1 million or that joy, okay, and I look around who is in my field, who is in my space, and I very much subscribe to the mirror theory. So the ideology that everything external is a reflection of something internal. Okay, so if I'm attracting non-joyous people around me, where is that in me? What's that represent in me? I choose to show up and acknowledge mirror theory at 100% level. I acknowledge that not everyone does, and that's okay. It's a big responsibility, to take on, especially in the world right now where we're unraveling a little. We're having a lot of things come to light. We're being shown that perhaps the human constructs of our world have not necessarily been working in our favor. So let me sit with that, because that's a reflection. Internally, where have I not been meeting myself? Where am I deluding myself? Where am I not being honest with myself? Okay. I altered my concept of self-responsibility just yesterday. I've been working out ways how to have that element of my message where it best gets digested, right? How can I share the concept of 100% self-responsibility? You own your reality, everything that's going on in it. Yeah, because that's a tough pill to swallow. Anyway, it came to me yesterday, and it was beautiful. And it was that instead of working off the mirror concept, in that everything in my life, every situation, every person, everything that has ever happened has been my responsibility. I've attracted that in. There's a lesson for me to learn there. I was like, you know what? Let's own it 100% in this moment. I right now am 100% owning my interaction here in this moment with you. Now that might seem crazy. How on earth can I take responsibility for you, beautiful people, on the other end of this, and how you're reacting, and any projections or judgments or shit or feelings? I can only feel what I can feel, right? But I can own that, and I can show up in that. Yeah. Again, I can survive this. My joy spark holds me to that. Whatever gets thrown my way, I will survive this. I don't have to enjoy it, but I can be in it, and I can own my interactions. I can own what I bring here. I can own the words that I say, and the voice and the intensity and the feelings that it comes with. I can own that. That's me. I can't necessarily own your response. Or can I? because you are just an aspect of me, yeah? So I focus on what I want. I want people to react in love and inspired and anything else. Okay? And for my own growth, for my own soul's journey, I can also sit with the resistance and the hatred and the unhappiness and the fear that is there for so many of us right now. I can sit with that. That's an aspect of me too, and I can own that, and I can work with it. Mm-hmm. Beautiful, beautiful. So, where to find joy in these times? I have cultivated what I call a joy recipe. And I have already started and sat with this in this live with you already. That's where you're feeling this from, right? I open with gratitude. Okay. My little saying is gratitude is the attitude of joy. Mm-hmm. Again, if I can be in the depths of hopelessness and despair and take a moment to go, wow, I'm grateful I'm alive. I get to have this experience. That's that inner spark. Okay. I can acknowledge anything. There is always an element of gratitude in every single experience. Why? Because we're there to have that experience. Thank you, Andy. Seeing through new eyes, hearing with new ears, thinking with new levels of perception, while being internally joyful, grounded and balanced. Gratitude. Thank you. Thank you, Andy. Thank you for the acknowledgement. I feel you. Beautiful. So gratitude. I open this live with speaking of gratitude to this space, to us showing up, to being here, to people being of service, to humanity, to everything. There's so much. There is so much. Okay? At the moment, as I said, there's a lot of fear. We're being in a situation where our attention and our energy is deliberately being funneled down the perspective of fear. And fuck, it's working. It's doing a great job of showing us that aspect of ourselves, right? Okay. So there's a gift there. There's a gift in feeling that. Fear has so much messages to share for us. So sit with it, be with it. Okay, as I said, feelings are on a dial. Okay, we might have that dialed into 500 out of 1,000. Okay, I can dial that up or down depending on whether I want to focus on it or not. Okay, and ultimately, if I want to move through it and beyond it, receive the goodness and the gold that's in that fear, okay, then I will create space and opportunity to be with it, to acknowledge it and get to know it. Okay. Your messages that come from fear will be different to mine. Okay. Mine's definitely tapped in for things around scarcity, not knowing how life's going to look, the uncertainty of it all. You can see I've sat with it because it's not there. Fear of losing loved ones. Okay, for those genuinely concerned about the virus, concerned about losing loved ones. Again, find the spark. Where is it? Get to know it. There's fear. There's fear about losing loved ones. and gratitude that I have loved ones to be concerned about in that same instance. Yeah, beautiful question. Ask fear, what do you want to show me now? Any feeling. What is it what's present? What's underneath that? And really allow it and drop down through it. The biggest thing that quite often we don't open up certain emotions for ourselves is because we actually don't believe that we will survive it, that it will overcome us and take us. Okay. But knowing that you are safe in that moment, and it's okay. It's okay if it doesn't want to come up. If there's resistance, honor the resistance. All is welcome. All is welcome here. And allow. So feeling the feelings. Is definitely, it's actually the last part of the joy recipe. It's interesting that I went there so quickly. So gratitude. Having a sense of purpose. Purpose is the second element in the recipe. Now, when I say purpose, I love the discussions that go on around purpose. Okay. For a lot of people, that's tied into their job and what they do and how they're of service to this world. And there's nothing wrong with that. Okay. So my purpose is actually my being. It's actually how I choose to show up in the world, how I choose to be. That's the gift. Okay. There's actually nothing to do. There's nothing else I have to be or do. I can just be, and that is showing up and fulfilling my purpose in this world. Now, I say that with also knowing that quite often that is not something that does sit well, thinking of all the things that I have to do, how I have to be of service. Yeah. But the truth, in essence, and this is for all of us, is that our purpose is to be and be in service to ourselves. And in being in service to ourselves, we're actually being in service to the world. Because we are all things. Everything is mirrored. If I'm 100% of service to myself, then I am in service to the world. And holding that for others. Beautiful. My third item in the joy recipe is being in my edge, or getting outside our comfort zone. Okay. Now, being outside our comfort zone can be doing things to do that deliberately. Okay. I set an intention each week, a task that is outside my comfort zone. I do that because what actually happens is we do the thing and we survive the thing. Okay. And in doing so, what we're doing is we're upgrading our nervous system. Okay, an example is I had fears of jumping off high heights. And so I deliberately forced myself, and I say that with that expression, force, because what happens sometimes is we become the tyrant to ourselves. We become the dominator, the forcing myself thing, and that's fine. It's just acknowledging that that's what I'm doing. What I'm doing is I'm being the tyrant. Okay. And in doing so, am I reflecting that out in the world externally? Are there some tyrants in the world? Perhaps. So But I can get outside my comfort zone by deliberately doing things like jumping off high heights. I've done this numerous times as experiments. And I'll go to the Bounce, the trampoline park, where there's a 3 meter platform that you can jump into a pit of foam. And even though every being in my cell in my body is going into fear and going, I don't want to do that thing, I climb the platform and I jump off into the pit. Anyway, I experimented with this. I was like, all right, how long is this going to take until it's safe in my neurology? So I would jump off, fall into the pit, get out, and then quickly run around, climb, jump off the platform, jump in. Okay, and what was happening is that my body starts to learn that this is safe. Okay, it gets to the point where it's okay with me jumping off that high height. Okay, I've applied this same technique with public speaking. Yeah, it was a beautiful thing when I committed to doing this live. That brought up a lot of fear. And it's like, fuck that shit, I'm going to do it anyway. Feel it. Okay, and I allowed it, and it cleared. And what comes with fear is this amazing gift, and that is clarity. And my message started dropping in for what to share on this live. So I felt the fear. I allowed it. I made it safe in my home. And then the clarity and the intuition comes in. So by getting outside my comfort zone, I am upgrading my system. The person that successfully does the thing that they thought they couldn't do, they become a different version of themselves. That person has a different belief system because they know they can do it and they know they can survive it. They're upgrading their inner spark, their joy. Feel into what happens when you do that thing. Thank you. Amen, sister. Okay, feel what happens to your system when you do the thing that you felt fearful about and you do it anyway. Whew. A range of hormone changes. Endorphins kick in. Yes, some of our happy hormones kick in. But then I know I can do that thing again if I need to, if I want to. Again, we don't all have to be a tyrant. I choose to be a tyrant frequently because that's the space that I play in. Yeah. Now, for some, our stepping outside our comfort zone, being in our edge, doesn't have to be as dramatic. Okay? It might be to just sit quietly with myself for 5 minutes and just observe quietly my breath. See if I can feel my heartbeat. And just allow. That might be me stepping into my uncomfort zone. Just allowing whatever is present to arise. Whatever is needing acknowledgement. Whatever messages, whatever aspects of myself that I've been hiding and running from through being so busy. It's where there's a lot of gifts coming up with this current situation. As I said, we're all in the whirlpool and the shit at the bottom is being stirred up, whether we like it or not. So life is growing us. I don't have to go necessarily do a workshop or a coaching session or a healing session. Yeah? Life is doing this for us right now. If we choose to acknowledge that and tap into those aspects. Remember, everything's a mirror. Okay? This virus, what's that represent to you? Find the characteristics of things that we're seeing externally and sit with them. So, yes, being in my edge. As I said, it doesn't have to be a massive doing thing. For many of us, myself included, being in itself can be uncomfortable enough. That's a real edge that exists. We've been given, for a lot of us, more space to do that. My meditation practice has skyrocketed over the last couple of weeks, and that's a real gift. So thank you. Thank you, world, thank you, life, for creating this for me, to put me there and allow it. So the fourth item in our joy recipe is that self-responsibility. And I did touch on this. I love the flow, how things just move and change. Okay. So owning my reality. I've got a theory, and look, it's loosely supported by other people's theories of work that I've heard or listened to or read. Okay. And that is that I'm in my own reality. You guys are guests in my reality, and I'm a guest in yours. Okay? And we are playing these beautiful roles of showing each other aspects of ourselves. And that goes for everything. So every person, every situation, okay, is there as a gift. There's a lesson there if we choose to acknowledge that. Yeah? If we choose to acknowledge it. So where am I not owning? Where am I not taking responsibility of my own reality? Okay. I used to train this in respect to cause and effect. Okay, pretty standard coaching paradigm that a lot of coaches are taught and used, where, every single thing that has happened in your life is your responsibility. You've created that. Through what you focus on is what you get. Yeah, these are pretty big things that are practiced. Okay. And when I really sort of felt and sort of wanted to work out ways of training this where it can be palatable and therefore accepted and go into someone's system, because I know when I was first taught those concepts, my body went, fuck that. I ain't owning everything. What about that accident, that person driving into my car? What about, maybe the miscarriage, maybe the sexual assault, all of that. How is that my fault? Yeah, so it can be a difficult one to potentially own. And so what dropped in yesterday for me around this is that I can own my interactions in this moment. I can own my interactions in this moment, and I can own it at 100%. Now, wrongly or rightly, take it or leave it. What I want from this, what the intention of this perspective is to 100% empower myself. And feel that. This is a great saying. What is it? The bad news is it's all my fault. And the good news is it's all my fault. You can feel the intention of that, right? So just trying it on. Okay? Trying it on. And going, okay, maybe that doesn't feel comfortable. And acknowledge that. Sit with the uncomfortableness, yeah? Everything comes full circle. So sit with the uncomfortableness and go, okay, well, what would it look like if I was to try that on? Like a new coat. I'm not too sure of the colour, a bit uncertain about the cut. I don't know if I'll actually like it. But how about we try that on? See how it feels. Maybe I can own a bit of that. Maybe it's all right. Maybe it's safe too. Maybe, in fact, that does is it gives me, again, empowering my spark to know I can survive this. And feel. Own your attention. Own your energy. 100%. No one else gets a say in that. So you may not want to own everything. You may not want to acknowledge the external world is just a reflection of what's inside. Okay. However, this is one I want you to try on. Own your attention and own your energy. Right now, we're at a war, whether we're aware of it or not. And it's been going on for some time, but it's really ramped up, yeah? It's really ramped up big time. Okay? And that is the war for your attention and your energy. As I said, it's deliberately from some source being funneled into fear. And that's okay if you're feeling that. However, honor and own your self-responsibility in that. What am I focusing on? Where's my attention going? I deliberately don't watch the news. Okay, I get my updates through various sources. My husband's very good at letting me know what's going on in the world. Now, that being said, knowing enough of what I know, I needed to do my own due diligence and spend some time researching, going down the rabbit hole, so to speak. And for a lot of us, I would imagine in this group, we've got an idea that what we're seeing isn't what's going on. Yeah, we know enough. Yeah, and there's lots of things at play. So many things. That's actually not possible to know all things that are at play. And so in doing so, I was going online, I was watching some clips, doing some research about, the power struggles that may or may not be going on. Okay. Unless I see it with my own eyes, I always take things with, okay, that's interesting, that's a perspective. And then feel in and go, okay, is that true for me? Is that a truth I'm willing to take in my system, and then maybe do some prepping around making sure that I'm safe in the physical world with what may or may not happen. Okay, but there is a war right now for your attention and your energy, and so just choosing where you put that. Okay, this space, this group is an incredible place to be putting our attention and energy. I'm so happy to be putting my attentions here and being of service to those that are open to it, right? And you who are listening to me now, you're choosing to put your attentions here in service to your own intention. Yeah? So my intention was to come here, hold the pillar of joy and share that with you. Okay? Your intention might be that. to be a receiver of that, or your intention might be something else, and that's okay. But choosing your intention, your attention, where it goes, and your energy, what you do with it. Okay, so I felt a little bit depleted and a little bit yuck after doing my research and due diligence. And I acknowledged that. I was like, all right, this doesn't feel good. And allowed to sit with the ickiness and the feelings that I was experiencing as a result of having put my attention in a particular space deliberately and owning it, not making it wrong. Okay? I own my energy 100%. I'm very, very deliberate with where my energy goes and who I give it to, who I share that with, who I hold space for. I don't allow people to draw on my energy. There are people that I'm willing in my life to support and allow them to draw on my energy, but I cap it and I acknowledge what I'm doing, and I screen my calls. Yeah, I don't pick up every call that I get. I feel into where I am in that moment. I feel into where I feel that the other person at the end of the line is going to be at, and go, am I ready to hold that? Am I ready to put myself in that space and have my energy drawn on like that? I own it. And yes, there are beautiful people in my world that I know I will feel depleted after being with. Okay? Yeah, precisely. Healthy boundaries. Guys, we're at war right now, whether we're aware of it or not. So much vying for our attention and our energy. If we're going to get to this where we need to get to, we're going to own that. Okay? Be in service to self. That is in being in service to others. I am useless. I am of no benefit. I cannot be of service if I have not kept myself where I need to be. And again, it's allowing what needs to come through. So yes, I've had my fear. I'm sure there'll be more fear around this come through. And I give myself the space to work with that. Okay? And then I choose when I withdraw. If I'm working with someone, I'm not just beforehand going to go jump on news.com, right? That's not good for me. That's not good for anyone. All right. How are we doing? How are we doing? Releasing the unconscious trauma programs with each breath. Yes. Yeah. Acknowledging that. So, we live in a world that is deliberately designed. Unfortunately, right now, if you are born into this world, you will suffer trauma. Whether that's, some of the big ones. Yeah. Okay. Or it might be what I call trauma by a paper cut. Okay, they might be small and slight, but it is possible to die from a number of paper cuts. It doesn't have to be any less traumatic. And that might be just constantly being rejected as a child by our primary caregivers and not feeling safe and not feeling loved. Knowing that everyone is doing the best with what they can. As I said, no one gets through unscathed. We're in a world right now that trauma is part of our reality. And so this is my fifth point with my joy recipe, and that is feeling the feelings, which I have already covered quite intensely. But however, I want to cover it from a perspective of allowing those feelings and utilizing them to tap into that original trauma. Yeah, so quite often that is when we're young. And working with the inner child that didn't necessarily get its needs met at that time. Okay? So I don't have to claim responsibility for the shitty stuff that's happened to me in the past, in my childhood. Okay? But I do get to claim responsibility on how I am now. Okay? And there are beautiful processes that exist that allow us to reparent ourselves, to give ourselves the childhood that we didn't necessarily have. They're all in us, all our different versions of ourselves at different ages, at different times, in different perspectives, in different events. Okay? And they've all got wisdom to share. So particularly when we start seeing patterned things happen in our external reality. So it might be that we keep repeating same relationship behaviors. Yeah. Relationship starts off great. It's fantastic. And then as it progresses, things start to show up. Yeah. And I can acknowledge that and then start to look at the external characteristics that are showing up. Okay, maybe I'm feeling rejected, I'm being ignored, I'm not getting the attention that I need. And then sitting with that and then tapping in and going, does this come from an earlier time? Okay. And just sitting with it, allowing it, communing with that. Okay. In some instances, we may want to work with someone. Yeah, a coach or a healer, a therapist, to unpack, to give us perspective on the things that we're not seeing. Okay. But that being said, we all have our own inner healer. We are all very capable. Okay. We need to give ourselves the space and hold that for ourselves. That little inner spark, she knows, it knows that we can survive this. We can survive anything. That spark, that joy, right? It's the version of ourselves that got all its needs met, that felt loved, that felt safe throughout their childhood to growing up. They've got all the resources. They can hold us in this. We can be that for ourselves. We can be the child and we can be the parent and give those aspects of ourselves what they need. And for the parts that aren't yet willing, for the parts that don't want themselves to be known yet, that aren't ready to show themselves, I speak to this strongly because I hold them deeply in myself. knowing that they're okay. Yeah, we only release what we're ready to release. Okay. And as infuriating and as frustrating as it is for myself to not be able to tap into those parts, for whatever reason, they're not ready. I can't be its tyrant. I have to allow and just make it okay. They'll be there ready to release when they're ready, if they ever become ready. It's a beautiful, contentious point for myself because I'm like, it's that concept of we're already whole, we're already healed now, versus knowing that there's something there, something that yet I haven't opened up in myself. And maybe when I've opened up that self, I'll have a stronger connection with myself. I'll be able to feel even deeper. I'll be able to tap into intuition and things that I haven't yet opened up in myself. And yeah, those parts don't yet feel safe, and I need to honor that for all my frustration around it. Okay. Yours, if you've got those parts that are resisting, may your reasoning for them not coming forward yet will be different to mine. Okay, but the process is no different. It's honoring, it's letting it know that all is okay. Okay, and knowing that I will survive this, and when this chooses to make itself known, I will survive this. Yeah. All right. Checking in, just seeing how everyone's going. Thank you for the interactions. I'm so grateful. This is really cool. So what I'm proposing now is a little bit of a experimental exercise that actually has quite a few of the joy recipe elements. I'll just repeat those. So gratitude, purpose, being in my edge, self-responsibility, and feelings. So they're kind of the source for this joy. So just allowing and knowing that life is going to grow us as well. Yeah, the shitstorm that's here on Earth right now that we're all going through together, it's here to grow us. Okay, it's for a lot of us giving us a sense of gratitude because of realizing what's important to us. It's putting us in our edge. Yeah, a lot of us have had things taken away from us. Yeah. I don't know what's going on in the rest of the world, but here in Australia, we're not allowed to just go hang out with friends at the beach right now. Yeah, we'll get arrested if that happens. So that's something really cool that's been taken away from us. Jobs, income, yeah, big security blanket, things that exist for people have been stripped away. Yeah. And having to go through whatever feelings come up as a result of that. So I can choose to go do the things that'll take me to being in my own comfort zone, or ultimately life's going to do that for us. She'll have her way with us, and we grow through those experiences. Thank you, Andy. Thank you. Thank you. So let's do this exercise. Or not. If you're not feeling it, don't. Honor where you're at. Check in. Discern. I, for too long, for the majority of my life, did not do those inner checks. God, I learned the hard way. Life threw me some really good things. Some things to assist me in having to learn to do that for myself. Awesome. That is so good. The beach. The beach is calling. Yeah. It was funny. One thing we are allowed to do here at the moment is still exercise, providing you're in keeping the 1.5 meter distance. And so I take my dog for a walk daily. And yesterday morning, I was out walking the dog, and along the way, I passed a few people. And I'm such a hugger. I get so much energy from hugs, right? And yeah, it was just like I saw these people and I was just like, I've never had this before, where I'm feeling overcome with the desire to just hug random strangers as I'm walking my dog in my street. I did restrain. I think I would have scared a few people doing that. But it was really funny going, oh wow. And just feeling that desire come over and acknowledging and going, okay, that's what's interesting is the fact that I haven't, like, the only person I've seen in physical contact with over the last week has been my husband. And so it looks like I'm missing the additional hugs that I would get from friends and loved ones. Okay, so as I said, feel into whether or not this is for you, and self-responsibility, right? So if this is taking you to edges that you don't want to go or open yourself up to, that's okay. And just sit with that part, and that's okay. So trying it on, this ideology, life, everything external. I will. Thank you, Andy. Absolutely. I'm a lifelong learner, so I love learning new things, so I will definitely look that up. So trying this on, this perspective that my reality is mine, and everything that's going on in my reality, everything that I'm observing externally is actually representing something internal. What I want us to do is check in with something that's going on externally right now that perhaps we're not feeling great about. It might be your rights being stripped away from you. It might be your job being brought into, job security brought into question. It might be the virus itself. It might be some of our leaders, how we're feeling about them and the decisions that they're making or the way that they're leading. Okay, feel into something externally that isn't feeling right for you right now. Okay. Perhaps you do subscribe to the idea that there is something bigger, a different agenda at play. If you're feeling it, feel into that. Feel into that aspect. Just pick something. Okay, it might be just an annoying person that you've got in your life too, or it might just be a niggling feeling that you've got going on. Whatever feels safe and feels right to you. Okay? And just breathing, letting the breath flow to where it naturally does and feels safe without the force. Okay? And when we breathe in, just noticing where it goes to and where it naturally sits. Okay? And only if you want to, feeling into whether or not you would like to breathe in a little bit deeper and send it to a place that enhances the breath. Okay. However, do not feel into that you need to force your breath deeper anywhere that it's not naturally willing and wanting to go. So thinking about this thing, the thing that we're choosing, I'm choosing the virus itself. Cool. And thinking about, well, what is the characteristic about the thing, the leader, the person, the situation that I don't want, that's hurting or doesn't feel safe right now, that's a problem in my exterior reality. Okay, so for me, I've just tapped in, I'm feeling in. And I'm feeling into the virus, and the characteristic about this virus that I don't want is that its ability to hurt people. And just allow that, whatever it is that's coming up. You might be feeling into a tyrant, whether it's an invisible tyrant or whether it's a known tyrant. Okay, it might be that they've got control that we feel. That they're not making best decisions for our well-being, and the powerlessness around that. Just feel into that and allow it and breathe. Sometimes it's beneficial to assist us in this feeling is to give it a shape, a texture, a color. Whatever comes through symbolically, it might have a weight. Or it may not show anything at all, and that's okay. Everything is welcomed here. Okay, if we're not getting anything, that's okay. Just sit with that. Sit with the void. If you feel into that there's a void there and it's caused by something not wanting to make itself known, that's okay. For those of you that are sensing a feeling that represents that characteristic in the external world, just allow it. So when I work with the virus, and the thing of me not liking is its ability to hurt people, there's a deep sadness and grief that comes over me. I felt it before, it's shifted already. Remembering that tyrant is in ourselves as well. That virus, that ability to hurt people, that's in me. All aspects exist in me as they do externally. Okay? And it's not making them wrong. Perhaps sometimes, out of necessity, I have to be the tyrant and try and control things and push my agenda. Sometimes I have to hurt people, whether it's intentional or not. So I'm feeling this, I'm allowing it. And it's okay. It's so okay. It doesn't feel great, but it's okay. And I know I can survive this. I can survive this. You can survive this. Whatever's coming up for you. So further to what we were discussing before, it is possible to then take this further and tap into the inner child that perhaps experienced this for the first time. So my inner child, the first child that hurt someone. And whatever pops into your head is generally what we work with. So that will typically be the first thing that pops in, will be the little quiet voice or sometimes yelling that represents what's in our unconscious mind or our intuition. So what came up just then when I asked what was the inner child that first experienced hurting someone else, and it was experiencing hurting my younger brother. Sorry, bro. Okay. And just being with that part of myself. Okay, again, not making it wrong. And going, is there anything that this child needs that I can give it right now that it didn't have at the time? So I just got love, acceptance, and reassurance. And just breathing that in, making it part of my neurology. If you're not getting anything, that's okay. Just breathing the I don't know in, and that's okay, is enough. Resistance is fine, numbness is fine. It's there to preserve us in this moment. Don't be the tyrant and push something that isn't ready to do that. Beautiful. Just checking in for that younger child and seeing if there's anything else that they need, or alternatively, is there anything that they have for you at this time? Any messages? My little inner child that was hurting my brother just wants me to be love. We can do that. That's okay. And then when you're ready and not before, allowing that child to become part of us and merge into us and grow up and to be the person that we are today. Yeah, beautiful. And then just breathing in and then just checking in now and just seeing if anything has shifted or changed in relation to the characteristic that we were tapping into earlier. So wrongly or rightly, I'm not going to judge it. The virus for me from this process has a message of love. Okay, now my head, my logical knowing goes, what the? It's okay. We just go with it. It doesn't have to be right, doesn't have to be wrong. We just go, okay, that's interesting. I can choose to take that on or not. It's just information. And now, again, just allowing the natural breath, not forcing it anywhere that it doesn't want to go, but just feeling into where it is. And I want you to visualize, see, hear, sense, or imagine, whatever works for you, a little speck, a little spark, an internal spark. And it might just be the tiniest of things, like a particle of dust. Somewhere in my system, a little particle of dust, my spark, my inner spark of joy that knows I will get through this, whatever this is. And as you put your attention on this spark, wherever in your body it may be floating around near your heart, it might be in your abdomen, it might even be in your legs or your foot or your head. If it's not inside you, but you're sensing it on the outside of you, again, that is okay. What I would do is ask yourself the question, what does it need? What does it need in order to become in me, to become part of my inner world? And once we've located that, just dialing it up just that little bit. So that little particle of dust is growing. It's becoming a bit of a sparkle in whatever color that suits you, that resonates, and just allow it to grow and allow that feeling of joy and that feeling of knowing I can survive anything. I can survive the tyrant. I can survive everything, inner and outer. And just making it bigger and growing it and growing it and growing it. And just breathing life into it, enhancing it, and allowing the feelings. If they're not coming, it's okay. Just acknowledging and sitting with that is. And growing it so that it's now as big as my entire body. And if your spark, it's got talons, it's got, the legs of the stars on the sparks. Like in a sparkler, you see all the little bits flying off and spreading. So it's as big as us, but these beautiful legs of our spark are actually reaching out and growing even further and further. And they're reaching across bigger than our suburb, our city, our states, our country, and those talons are reaching out, and they're actually reaching out and connecting with everyone that's in this group. It's like we're high-fiving each other. And just sharing that feeling and knowing that we've got this globe covered. Beautiful. If you need to, for your own energy preservation, remember self-responsibility here, feel free to retract your talons if that deems right for you. If you want to leave your talons out there connected across the globe, feel free to do that too. What I want you to do is to take your awareness back to the center of your spark. Whether your talons are still reaching out or whether you've retracted them, that's okay. But finding the center of your spark internally. And just breathing in to wherever is natural and just acknowledging it and saying thank you. Thank you for your message. Thank you for your joy. Thank you for giving me the ability to know that I will overcome and I can move through whatever needs to be moved through in order to shift my reality. And so when you're ready, just finding the center of your inner spark. And I want you just to put that somewhere tucked in your body, somewhere that is safe and right for you. That might be in your heart. That might be in your abdomen. It might be in the tips of one of your fingers. But putting it somewhere so that you know that it's there and that you can tap into that whenever you need it. Whenever you're being guided to work through something that's a bit heavier and dense, that it can be there just to support us through whatever it is that we need to go through. Beautiful. And once you've tucked that away safely, just doing one more acknowledged and witnessed breath. And then feeling the tips of my toes and my fingers and the top of my head, and maybe wriggling around a little bit as I just gradually come back into the room. Take a moment, take a breath. Wow. That was amazing from my perspective. Thank you, Andy. That was a wonderful experience. I'm so glad. I'm so grateful. So that's just a process. There are so many processes. We can use dance, we can use art, we can use breath work, we can scream and yell. We can do all the things that we need to do to move through things that we are presented with the experiences that we are having. It's all there. It's all medicine for us if we choose it. If we don't choose it, that's okay. Life will have its way with us anyway. It will have its way with us anyway. If anyone is curious about that particular process, I've modeled it a little bit of matrix therapies, which is an NLP timeline based process, and as you could tell, there's some inner child in there. Okay, I just went with what came up. I didn't actually work with a script or anything like that. The spark bit was of my own devising, and it's funny because I kind of knew I was going to throw it in there, but I didn't know how it was sort of going to present itself, and it had its own life. It wanted to join with everyone else's and high five, so that was really cool. So thank you for being that with me. It was really, really cool. Freedom. Yeah. Yeah, me too. The spark is kind of cool. Whew. All right. Let's have a moment. Hydrate. Good work. If that is a process that you just sat with and it's stirred up some shit in a bigger way than what you're able to hold space for in yourself in this moment, again, be gentle on yourself. Okay, sit with it. And if you need support, please reach out. If not to me, to someone that you know that can hold you in that. There is a magnitude of magnificent beings just in this group. So just feel into that. Remember, self-responsibility. It's owning where we're at. It's owning our reality. It's owning what comes up or what refuses to come up. Wow, my voice has gone really deep. Blessings. Thank you, brother. Thank you. Mm. Oh, yeah. So, and that self-responsibility also extends to knowing when to ask for help when we're in the shit of it. Okay, if things get too much, reach out. Sorry, I'm really digging my voice. In the minute, something's really opened up and shifted here. That's amazing. Ah, amazing, amazing. Right. So, my last element that I wanted to address was then how to hold this container of joy for others. So, first and foremost is that you've to set an example. Okay, this is the container that I hold for people. If and when they're ready to do processes. Okay, and for many of the people that I hold this position for, they're also not. And that's okay. I'm just acknowledging that. The best way to be able to be a container of this for others is first and foremost to be able to do it for ourselves. Okay, if we are constantly avoiding and running away from things that make us feel helpless and powerless and unhappy, if we're running away from that, you can attempt to hold that container, that joy, that spark for someone else. However, we're really only able to support people as far as what we've been through ourselves. Okay, so the things that have opened up in me through my journey, I can hold people in that. I can navigate that terrain because I've been there, I've done it. Now, that being said, I am able to hold space and containers for people that have had experiences that I have not. Okay, why? Because I use these things as a mirror and I then bring those into my system and have the experience myself, quite often as they're in their space of sharing. So if we're feeling uncomfortable about others people's fear, stress, emotions, anxiety, if we're not feeling comfortable with that, and that may show up in actual feeling uncomfortable, that may show up in having to run and go grab the tissues or hug someone the moment that they're having an emotion, a leak. Yeah. Or it might be actually we're coming from a position of, oh my God, you're kidding? Are you still sitting with this problem in this shit? Being in a place of perhaps judging the person for where they're at. I'm not immune. Yeah. There are loved ones that I will not hold this sort of space for because they're not ready. Okay. That's just it. Okay. And my judgments, I acknowledge, I know that they again are a mirror, part of myself being reflected, and I honor that too. Okay, they don't have to be wrong. The judgments that I do, I don't let them go unchecked. I check in and see where they're coming from and work with them. But yeah, we want to hold people in a position that everything is fine. So whatever's coming up for them is fine and it's okay. What we want to do is hold people in a space of whatever comes up for them. It's welcome. And we can acknowledge it. We can acknowledge the perspective that they're having. It may not be the perspective that we're having in our own reality. There's a beautiful definition of listening that came into my world just a few months ago. There's a gentleman by the name of Philip Shepherd, and he's written a book called The Radical Radical Wholeness. He runs a workshop as well, which I got to attend, and his definition for listening is just so poignant and so perfect. And that is to really be listening. To really be listening is that we are allowing ourselves to be changed by the words the other person is saying. In doing so, by allowing someone else's words to penetrate us enough to the point that they may change us, means that I have put my bias, my judgments, my beliefs, everything aside so that I can allow it to come in. And so that's something, since learning that definition of listening, I really hold to that. And that is when someone is needing us to hold the container for them, is that we sit in that position of listening and allowing whatever comes out, whether we agree with it or not, but allowing us to have the openness that those words may change us, that their perspective, how they're feeling, how they're resonating with the world right now, that it could change us, and being okay with that. That's not to say that what they say has to change us, but we need to be open to it in order for us to put all our shit aside. So yeah, sitting in that from a listening perspective, by that definition, be comfortable with whatever comes up and allowing ourselves to feel into it without it overriding our system. Okay, allowing it to move through us. Okay, and allowing that person to not have to change or do anything different or be anything different in that moment. That is the space that I hold and the space that I advise us to share for others going through this time and supporting our near ones and dear ones and our loved ones, near and far. When we work with people where we hold the opposite of that, where we believe they have to change, that they're not allowed to be fearful, don't be fearful. That's a voice. When we hold that, then we're in resistance to all that they are, which is actually a reflection, which is all that we are. Yeah. And look, we know this. Whoever here has been told to be something different to what they are, or don't be sad, what happens? Our inner rebel just comes up and goes, no way. Yeah. So just allowing and coming from that space of total love and acceptance and non-judgment and no needing for anything to be any different. All we do is feel and allow that. We don't have to go into the tyrant. Even though that's a place that a lot of us naturally do go to. Okay? We dishonor ourselves and we dishonor the people that we're working with. What this allows for is to honor where we are at and to acknowledge where we are not. And then in that is the magic. Cool. All right. Thank you so much, love and gratitude to you, to this space, to our Earth Elders and Galactic Fire group. Thank you. Acknowledge your participation, and thank you. Beautiful. All right, I'm going to call this to a close. Thank you. Thank you for your attention. Thank you for your energy shared. And I'm now going to allow your energy to go back to you and for mine to come back to me. Feel free to connect with me, my profile. Say good day, shoot me a message, chuck your messages in, even if you're watching this post live. Love to hear from you, what you've gotten from this, what you've experienced, what medicine you've received. Yeah, so good. So good. So the fire continues. The galactic fire will forever be burning in this group, in this space, which I'm very grateful for. For me now, symbolically, come to a close. Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And with heart and with soul, to your joy spark, wherever it is. Thank you.